Opportunity economy. Lisa Brady, Fox News.
And key to creating this opportunity economy is building up our middle class.
Vice President Kamala Harris laying out an economic agenda that targets costs with a first ever federal ban on grocery price gouging and steps to fuel more home building while also addressing housing costs.
In addition, while we work on the housing shortage, my administration will provide first-time home buyers with $25,000 to help with the down payment on a new home.
Speaking in Battleground, North Carolina, Harris says former President Trump would raise costs for middle-class families. The former president says Harris is admitting that Biden-Harris policies have failed. President Biden says Gaza ceasefire talks are closer than they've ever been.
But we're not there yet. But it's much, much closer than it was 3 days ago.
This after 2 days of talks with mediators from the U.S., Egypt, and Qatar wrapped up in Doha with plans to reconvene next week in Cairo. The mediators presenting Israel and Hamas with proposals aimed at bridging remaining gaps. In Florida, a woman has just been convicted in the fatal shooting of a black neighbor during a long-running dispute about children playing loudly outside her home. 60-year-old Susan Lawrence, who's white, found guilty by an all-white jury after just 2.5 hours of deliberations. She faces up to 30 years in prison. Lawrence claimed self-defense, telling detectives in a videotaped interview she feared for her life as 35-year-old A.J. Owens was pounding on her door. Prosecutors say there is no evidence Lawrence was in any imminent danger. Stocks finished higher, the Dow up 96 points at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Podcasts.
A North Carolina inmate is back in prison, resuming a life sentence for murder after escaping earlier this week while being transported to a hospital. 30-year-old Ramon Alston captured early today more than 100 miles away at a hotel with a woman, Jacobia Crisp, who's now facing charges of aiding and abetting his run.
It's our understanding that the relationship began several months ago between our inmate, who's now back in custody, and Jacobia.
North Carolina Adult Correction Department spokesman Keith Acree says the relationship was mostly by phone and started after Alston was incarcerated. A longtime detention officer ends up behind bars, facing multiple charges from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation over what happened at the Barrow County Jail, where she used to work.
Former veteran detention officer Lolita Leitner is accused of tampering with the food of 5 inmates at the jail. Sheriff Judd Smith says he disapproves of what happened and immediately called in the GBI to investigate after realizing Leitner apparently drizzled pepper spray on the breakfast trays of the inmates.
Obviously, she did it to get, I would assume, to give extra punishment to the inmates.
The sheriff says the 5 inmates immediately had a reaction when they started eating the tainted breakfast. GBI investigators charged the 50-year-old detention officer with violation of oath of office and cruelty to inmates.
Angelique Proctor of Fox TV affiliate WAGA in Atlanta. The Barrow County Sheriff's Office fired Leitner, who turned herself in after learning of warrants for her arrest. Hurricane Ernesto still churning toward Bermuda as a Category 2 storm expected to pass near or over the island early tomorrow and then continue to stay away from the U.S. mainland. Again, stocks finish higher and the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ also all higher for the week. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Hey, what's up? Happy Friday. It is The Drive with Tay and Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Lante, and Jimmy Sebeski, our intern, his last day here at The Drive.
My swan song.
I forgot about that.
We'll have to give him the mic to wax poetic on Matt Painter or whatever he feels is within.
I got my speech ready.
Okay, good. Perfect. I'm sure it includes some parting shots.
Oh, yeah.
Might.
Oh, yeah.
As far as the little Illini and Boilers rivalry, I think that's fair to say. I mean, it's definitely in football. They play for a trophy. But we'll get to that as we go along.
I got some things.
You got some things?
Not about Jimmy.
Fair.
Yet.
We're going to make it a roast?
Yeah, I'm going to roast him at the end. You and I, for some reason, have this, you, Derek, and I have, for some reason, this weird trajectory when it comes to fantasy football. Like we draft the same players, never goes well.
Yeah.
You and I both bought a fantasy football magazine within the last 48 hours or something.
I got mine on the way to the show today.
Okay. And I did mine a couple days ago, but I don't know. It just we do the same stuff and then it just never ends well. For us, so I don't.
You guys have different magazines, though.
But
so
the
maybe
same game parlays for Cardinals games.
Yeah, that one.
We haven't done that as frequent. That used to be a nightly thing. And then a couple years ago, every Cardinals game, we're like, all right, let's get a little parlay going. Not saying we lost everyone, but we lost a lot of them.
We did. I can remember the one at our old station where you and Trevor and I were sitting in the big comfy seats out front, and I decided, what the hell, I'm going to have Paul DeYoung hit a home run tonight on Dinger Tuesday. And he did. And that is the only, I can count that on one finger.
Big hit.
The only hit. That and Phil Mickelson in a major.
The reality check was Hans being like, I'm not betting this because you guys never win. And I was like, oh, shoot.
Or was it when they gave Lon his stats on his bets where he's 141 bets, 12 wins.
I hit 12.
I don't think he wants to put that out there, but it's out there now.
It was awesome. I still remember the Hans D. You remember this a couple of years ago when he did his first parlay ever and nailed it. And I mean, I don't know what he ended up winning, but he won a nice chunk.
It was like a 10-leg NFL parlay.
Yes.
It had over-unders, spreads. It was just
he nailed it.
Big odds. I don't know how much he put on it, but
he looks at me as serious as can be, and he's like, man, I might be able to just pay college off with this kind of stuff.
Dangerous thinking.
I'm like, Hans, there is a number that you need to call that they give it to you on the betting site.
I love the
confidence.
The confidence, and he was still new to the betting game, so he just figured, what? I can hit one of these, every other week, and those student loan payments are going to go down real quick.
I think he realized pretty quick after that wasn't going to happen. Bill said, Lon, bet the opposite of your instinct. Listen, Trevor and I did it one week where I was like, Trevor, I'm going to literally come in and I'm going to tell you what I'm betting on tonight, like what I feel good about, and you bet the opposite. And somehow we both would lose. I don't know how. And I'm like, okay, this just isn't fun.
That seems hard to even pull off.
Everybody's in uproar because they're going to tax now basically your winnings. And I'm like, I don't win. So, I mean,
joke's on you.
My betting career essentially has been throw 100 in and $5 parlay it to death. And then usually around the $15 mark, when that's all I've got left, I'll hit something for like $60, and then I'll just use that then for another month and just bet the $5 parlay until I get down to like $5, hit again, and I'm like, well, hey.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, so I'm not down that much despite my winning percentage being Arizona Cardinal-ish.
Well, see, you're swinging for the fences every time. You're Nolan Gorman this thing.
Nolan Gorman, Patrick Wisdom.
You're striking out a lot. Your average is low, but you hit a bomb enough to where you're still getting the start.
That's the perfect analogy.
It's paying off enough for you.
I am the Nolan
where
Gorman.
You're not out of baseball.
Betting. I've got if anybody ever cared about my wagers, they would be so mad at me right now. Like I am at Nolan Gorman.
Well,
and then
maybe.
And then every once in a while, though, I'll lead us to a victory.
Yeah, exactly.
Such a great analogy.
Just a little flash here and there.
Yeah, I mean, just right when I think things are as gloom as can be, and I've got to maybe deposit a little more money, it's boom! Hey,
good.
whoa! I just hit something.
There are many avenues to get to the point where you need a little bit more change in that account. You can bet normal, like I'm just going to bet the spreads every time.
Right.
No, you aim high. You get your college basketball 10-leg parlays, and I'm excited. Like we'll be talking a week from now about what games will be about to happen in week 0 of college football on Saturday, and the slate will be pretty bare in terms of like games that are worth watching,
right?
Without money on.
Amen.
Just about any game with money on is
Amen.
worth checking out or checking the score when you're doing something else. So I'm looking forward to that.